Well, good morning. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, and it's Thursday, so this is YESHUA Unscripted, the original teachings where we go through the teachings of Yeshua in chronological order so that we can separate the gospel about Yeshua, and certainly the gospel about Jesus, from the real teachings of Yeshua himself. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get through and get you to the place where you can understand and know and see and understand the teachings of Yeshua and understand them from the real standpoint. And that's what we're doing here at thechristianwhistleblower.com. So let me give you a quick look at that. New header, but you can see on Mondays we do the Apostle Paul Antichrist study, Tuesdays Diamond New Testament, Wednesdays demystifying the book of Revelation, Thursday, today, YESHUA Unscripted, and then on tomorrow, the Nag Hammadi Scriptures, Saturday, Secret Teachings of All Ages, Sunday, ISIS Live, and our ISIS Unveiled, and our NCK Live teachings. Then we have the 11th Hour Messengers Live, which is a kind of a free-form discussion, radio-type group chat. We usually have some interesting people here in the 11th hour that are messengers for helping us maximize what we hope to be is a coming ascension and something good, but boy, sometimes it makes you wonder. And then we have the Christian Whistleblower radio program, which is coming back, and it'll be broadcast on the deprogrammed radio network, and also you'll have the video here that you can go to. And we have the paranormal trip as well. That's coming up, but we want you to take advantage of these because it's time to get deep. It's time to move beyond the now I lay me down to sleep type of spiritual experience and move into some depth. And speaking of depth, if you'd like to order our books, they're all on sale in ebook version for only $2.50 today. In fact, the UFO Christmas Story has been reduced to $1.99 through Christmas. All the rest of the books are $2.50 through Christmas, except for Eat the Pain. That's the brand new one. It's $5. I think it's a little bit less than that on Amazon if you'd like to go over there. But all of the books, I mean, they're about the Eucharist, about Christmas, Mandela Effect, exorcism. I spent 20 years as a Pentecostal evangelist. We still do a lot of spirit cleansing work. In fact, we're kicking off even more of it. Final Message of the Last Apostle, Paul Antichrist, Diamond New Testament, not to be missed, Serpents and Doves, Spiritual Wisdom, and Rocket Man, the crazy life and times of L. Ron Hubbard. Great stuff, interesting stuff, and all for less than the price of a very mediocre cup of coffee at a national coffee house. So avail yourself of the opportunity to get a hold of these books at a very, very low price. Make sure you're coming to Christian Whistleblower. If you want to know about me, you can simply click there and find out about me. If you want to know about the paranormal services we offer, you can find out about those right here. If you want to know about NCK Center, if you want to know about the other type of services that we offer, from Create Yourself, EFT, spiritual guidance, exorcisms, past life regression, palmistry, paranormal cleansing, we've already talked about that, NLP, personal experiences. It's all right here for you at your fingertips. So avail yourself of that, and it'll be very, very helpful for you. And that's exactly what we're trying to do, is help you unindoctrinate yourself. So today, as we get into our teaching, we're getting into our teaching from the book of Mark. And the reason why we're on the book of Mark is because, again, we're looking at the teachings of Yeshua, and we're looking at them in chronological order, in order of them being published. The Gospels containing most of the information about and directly from the mouth of Yeshua, and Mark was the first one. So it's not very complicated. Go back, and we've started from Mark 1:1, the very beginning of the teachings of Yeshua, where his very first thing was to say, no more blood sacrifice. Water baptism is the way of forgiveness now, which completely threw the whole first century paradigm into craziness. But now we're down, and here's the thing that I think with Yeshua that we really should see all the things that we've seen so far, all of his work, all of his teachings were noted by being moved with compassion. Yeshua was moved with compassion. And I think that is probably the bottom line of what he did. And let's just look at that in the Greek and see what it really says. Verse 41 here. And let's see what it means to be moved by compassion, because we don't see a lot of that even in our realm of the paranormal and spiritual workers. So, and Yeshua, boy, that's a long word there, isn't it? Being moved by compassion means to feel compassion on, to feel pity on, to be moved. And it is from the word splaxna. It means the inward parts, the nobler entrails. So it's really being motivated out of your inward parts, to be motivated out of compassion. It really means to be moved in one's bowels, to one's core, to be moved with compassion, to have compassion. And it really should be what characterizes our work, and it's certainly what characterized the work of Yeshua, being moved with compassion. And that's one of the reasons why, even when Yeshua was casting out spirits or dealing with unclean spirits, we will see, we haven't seen yet, but we will see that Yeshua even was moved with compassion on those spirits. Now, not all of them are receptive to his compassion, your compassion, or my compassion. But if we follow the example of Yeshua, we will act with compassion even towards the spirits. Now that's a whole new kettle of fish. Let me explain what I mean. Today, when most people cast out demons or do exorcisms, all they're really worried about or concerned with is getting that demon out of that person, out of that place, out of that thing. Not really a bad motivation, but that's only half the job. Once the unbalanced spiritual entity is removed from that individual, that place, or that thing, then we have, if we are really following Yeshua and his gospel, his teachings, we have the responsibility to be moved with compassion towards that spirit. And think about it. If a spirit, it's really an unbalanced entity, but I'll use the word spirit. If a spirit is tormenting a person, if a spirit is tormenting a place, if a spirit is tormenting a thing or manifesting through a thing to bring discomfort to persons around it, then there's something wrong with that spirit. Spirits are not naturally evil. Spirits are not naturally malevolent. Spirits aren't there just to give people a bunch of crap and to be dangerous. They are dangerous. They are malevolent. They are causing discomfort to the living in this realm because they are out of balance. Now, there's many, many reasons why these spirits are out of balance. Some of them are out of balance because they don't know how to get back in balance, don't know that they can get back in balance. And Yeshua regularly ministered not only to the spirits on this physical realm that happen to be inhabiting meat suits right now. He ministered to those spirits. He also ministered to the disembodied spirits that are operating both in this world and on the death plane. We were talking about the Tibetan Book of the Dead. That's a little deep right now. I think we need to back off on that one for a minute. But the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which I'm convinced Yeshua knew of, who knows, maybe he even wrote it. But Yeshua talked about how to deal with spirits on the afterlife plane, on the death plane that we would call it, and even gave instructions for those spirits, and we'll get into that at a later point once we get through some of these other series, or we may just add that one because it is tremendous, but I don't think we're quite ready for it yet. So these spirits are undergoing some distress, and it is our responsibility, if we're going to be following the example of Yeshua, which is my belief, the greatest spiritual teacher that has come down the pike, or at least the latest and greatest. And if we follow his ways, his truths, and his ways of life, then we will reach out to these spirits. Now, you can't always get them to react, but some of them will react positively. And we have ways to handle those that will not react positively. But we are moved with compassion initially, both towards the spirits in this world that are running around in meat suits right now. That's us. We're spirits. We just happen to be having this meat experience. And we also should be moved with compassion towards the spirits that are not in bodies, that are working here in this realm at the very least. And once we begin to get more advanced in our understandings, we can begin to work with the spirits that are on the death plane. And then once we get even more advanced, we can begin to work and free those that have been captive in what I call soul farms. So there's really 3 different steps of what I would call spiritual evangelism, and we're going to be getting very much deeper into that. Sounds like there should be a book about spiritual evangelism. Might have to get to work on that. But that brings us to the end of the first chapter of Mark. I forget how many teachings we've had in this series already, but 5 or 6 or so. You can see there on the header, it'll tell you which number this is. And by the way, while you're watching these, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell up in the upper right, because number 1, it helps you get notified of new teachings. Number 2, it helps when more people subscribe drive my videos up in the pecking order, so people will organically see them, and we can get this message out to more people. Same reason I want you to like the video, hit the thumbs up, and also share them. The arrow, boop, put it on your Facebook, put it on your Twitter, put it on your, I don't know if you can put it on Instagram and stuff like that. I need to get in to the Instagram, but I have a smartphone, but it's not the greatest one, and where I live out here on this lake, I don't get the best of reception. But anyway, and as we move to Mark chapter 2, again we see Yeshua healing. This time he's healing a paralytic, someone that can't walk, and this is the story where they, dig a hole in the roof or dig out the roof and lower the man down to Yeshua. And when they lower the man down, Yeshua says, "Oh, your sins are forgiven you." And the Pharisees are like, "Who can forgive sins?" But Yeshua was making a point. He was making a point about the whole nature of sin. Sin is not what we think it is. Sin is not as much something we do as it is something that was done to us. Sin is really the transfer of unbalanced energetic energy from ancestors, from associates, and it is as well actions, attitudes that we have that are not balanced. And Yeshua will talk about that. I don't think he talks about it here, but we'll talk about it next session as we look at sin, because he talks about it being like an archer trying to hit the target. You're missing the mark. That's what sin really is, missing the mark. And it's a question of balance. You can't hit a mark as an arrow. You can't hit the bullseye if you're unbalanced. So Yeshua talks about getting us back into balance. So moved with compassion towards all spirits was the big lesson of today. And until next time, I am Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, encouraging you to make use of the website, encouraging you to make use of the videos, and encouraging you above all else to unindoctrinate yourself.